Get Ripple, the bright new drink with that ring-a-ding flavor. Ripple.
Okay, so book talk.
Book talk. First time. This is awkward.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel
is.
like I'm in a discussion group at school.
Yeah, I feel like it's way too serious.
But it's okay. It's not a real... it is a serious book, but it's like a fun book, too.
It is. I like it.
Any book that says fuck in it, you
So
can't
many
take
times.
too seriously.
So many times.
So we're talking about The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by...
Mark Mason?
Mark Mason?
Mark somebody.
Wait.
We probably should have had this pulled up before.
Mark Mason. Manson.
Manson.
Oh, he's talking to me.
Did you start playing it?
The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson.
Yeah. And I've already listened to this like a year or so ago, but you are listening to it for the very first time.
Right.
And I re-listened to the first chapter. How far did you get?
I started chapter 3.
Oh, okay.
So
thoughts so far?
I like it. I think he makes some very good points. I've actually laughed out loud a couple times.
Oh.
The one that I can remember most recently, I think it's chapter 2, chapter 3. He's like, do you know what 3-year-olds and dogs have in common? They both take shits on the floor, and they like so they're talking about like just acting impulsively.
Oh, okay.
Kind of stuff. It was I don't know, cracked me up. Considering my dog took a big shit on the floor a week ago.
My dog would never.
Well, he had diarrhea. He couldn't make it.
Well,
But yeah. What do you have any takeaways?
yeah. Okay. So the very first chapter, and it's been like a week or so now, and we should have done this when it was still fresh in my head.
I know. I thought
I realize how quickly I forget this stuff, but it was
all about a while.
stop trying.
Right.
That's what I was thinking of. I don't know why. I was thinking about this on the way over, but yeah, that was my main takeaway.
The stop trying.
And okay, the whole thing of Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, it's not that you don't give a fuck about anything. It's about deciding what fucks to give.
Exactly.
So it's not like, oh, I don't give a fuck about your feelings. It's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to, it's a funny way of saying, in my opinion, to stop living up to somebody else's standards and set your own.
Find out what's important to you and give all the fucks about that.
Exactly. So, and I feel like he made a really good point, and we talked about it a little bit in our podcast, our main episode last week about social media and the influence that it has on you. And you start developing these desires almost, or impulses to strive to be like a lot of these people on social media, when in reality,
expectations that can never be met.
Well, and who the fuck cares about some of these things? Because you can get so caught up in, like for my Instagram feed, for example, I think I was telling you a while ago that Gucci belt kept popping up. That freaking belt with the G and C, and it's like super trendy, and everybody has this Gucci belt. And I kept seeing it more and more and more. And I'm like, oh, maybe I need a Gucci belt.
No, you don't.
No, I work in farms and ranches. I'm not going to show up with a Gucci belt.
That would be kind of funny.
It would be kind of funny. But like, it was a lot of these, boss babes in their suits, and they have these office jobs, and they have this kind of elitist look to them because they've made it and they're successful. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's what I should do. And I have no desire to work in an office. I'm successful in my own field, and that has nothing to do with that look or that.
So why should you care?
Exactly. But it's because I'm influenced by these standards that are set by our culture, and it doesn't apply to me. So I should stop caring and start looking at the things that do.
Which is, I think, a lot easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
But the more that you kind of think about your actions and deciding why you are trying to either live up to someone else's standards or expectations, and that doesn't go for just social media. It goes for friends, for family members, for bosses, anyone. Deciding what's important and what's not.
Right. Exactly. And it's almost just fine-tuning and focusing on what really matters to you. And I heard this analogy a while ago. It just popped into my head. where, like, say you have a bunch of buckets, right? And each bucket represents the amount of energy that you put into one thing. And you have a finite amount of water, and you can distribute that water throughout those buckets. So if you're focusing so much energy on buckets that don't matter, it's taking away from the things that truly do matter in your life and what your goals are, or maybe you want to spend more time with family. And that shouldn't be dictated by anybody else but you.
You make that decision.
Right.
And no one else.
Yeah. So if it's your life's goal to be a mother, and our society has shifted in such a way where, oh no, you have to be a boss babe, and if you don't have a career, then are you anything?
Right.
And like, who the fuck cares? If you want to be a mom and that's what means something
and
to
kick
you,
ass being that mom,
then be the best fucking mom you can be, and don't, like, who cares?
Right.
You know?
Well, and the absolute reverse of that, as a woman, you don't have to be a mom if you don't want to be.
Exactly.
So make that decision based on yourself. I mean, I guess you should probably have your spouse's input as well. But but just, I mean, find what brings you joy and kick ass doing it.
Yeah.
All right, chapter 1.
Chapter 1.